Yes everyone, thanks for tuning in to another video. It's been a little while since I've last uploaded, about 5 or 6 weeks. I've been out of the country for a couple of weeks and that's about it. But I'm here, I'm planning on making some more videos and exploring lots of ideas and making some content of some different variety, which I talked about in previous videos. But today, I'm going to be talking about why I've decided to stop the carnivore diet. Now, before I launch into it, I'd just like to say, as always, I'm not a medical professional or a nutritionist. I'm just purely sharing my experience. And just because this is my experience doesn't necessarily mean it will be your experience. But this is just my observations, what's happened, and I'd like to just give an honest review and some feedback. So I first started the carnivore diet almost 2 years ago. It would have been May 2021 after being diagnosed with bipolar cyclothymia. And I started the carnivore diet for mental health reasons. Now, on that note, I have to say it made a massive impact, a positive impact. My mental health cleared very quickly. There's many great positives about the carnivore diet. Mental clarity, you don't get energy crashes as when you eat carbs. My mental health definitely improved. From a certain perspective, it's simple because all you eat is meat. There's not too much to think about. And there's lots of positives. My new conclusion, again, this is just my conclusion, is that over a long-term basis, maybe it's not the best. Now, of course, everyone's different. Things that are going to impact this are your genetics, the quality of the food that you're eating, etc., etc. But for a short term, I think it's great. For a long term, this is where maybe I start to have some questions about the whole thing. So the first reason I decided to stop is about 6 months after starting the carnivore diet, I started to develop a couple small patches of psoriasis on my legs, which I'm going to share a photo of now. So you can see they're not that big and they're not that bad. I should say that I've just started applying a new application to my skin to make the psoriasis a little bit better, so they may be a little bit more red than what you've just seen in the picture. So that was the first red flag. Now, is that due to the carnivore diet? I can't say. Who knows? From lots of research that I've done is that saturated fat can contribute to psoriasis. Now, that was about 6 months into it. About 15 to 16 months afterwards, I started to develop some physical issues which potentially could be psoriatic arthritis. So for example, I can't bend either of my index fingers more than that at the moment. I don't know if you can see, this one is quite swollen and so is this little finger. So again, is that down to the carnivore diet? I don't think so. Could it be contributing to inflammation? Potentially. I've done quite a lot of research in regards to this, and one thing I came across is that having too many omega-6s to omega-3s in your diet, which is a whole other rabbit hole, could potentially cause this inflammation. I've read various studies that say a diet too high in saturated fat can contribute to psoriasis and psoriatic arthritis. So it's really difficult for me to say, but I wasn't just experiencing these problems with my fingers, my whole body was hurting. I was having issues with my right shoulder, my feet were really hurting, the soles of my feet felt like it was hurting me to walk. So it's really difficult for me to say if that's down to the carnivore diet. But I stopped doing the carnivore diet about 4 months ago and incorporating lots of different things into my diet. I've gone back to some brown rice, I've gone back to some sweet potatoes, much more vegetables, fruit, and it is not as bad as it was. Now, there's a caveat to that, which is I'm doing lots and lots and lots of other stuff. Alternative healing methods, such as acupuncture. There's lots of various things I'm experimenting with. But after that started happening, I read a couple of books and read some research and decided, maybe the carnivore diet could be contributing to this, potentially, but maybe not. But who knows? This is the problem. But all I can say is since I started to reduce the amount of red meat I was eating and cooking with things such as olive oil rather than beef tallow, the inflammation's definitely gone. So that's sort of the first reason why I decided to stop. Now I'm aware that many people start the carnivore diet to fight autoimmune issues and it's a success. But again, everyone's different. Maybe the carnivore diet's got absolutely nothing to do with it. Quite possibly so, but I just wanted to share that. The second reason that I stopped is it does start to get a little bit bland and a bit boring, and you know, it's great for the first 6 to 12 months, but then it starts getting a little bit challenging. It starts getting difficult at social situations. When I'm out to dinner with people, it is quite restrictive. Now, from one perspective, that's fantastic because it makes things easy, but then in another perspective, you know, sometimes I just want a sweet potato and to dip it in some mayonnaise, and that's it. So I guess you can find balance with these kind of things, but I've sort of swapped out the red meat for a lot more fish. I'm still eating red meat, only 2 or 3 times a week now. I'm eating a lot more fish, and I'm incorporating much more vegetables and fruit into my diet, as well as some rice, some sweet potato, and some oats from time to time. So the second reason was just, to be frank, it started getting a little bit boring, and I felt it was a little bit restrictive. The third reason, if I'm totally honest, is it just started getting too expensive. One thing that I think is very important in the carnivore diet is you need to be eating good meat, which means you need to be eating grass-fed meat. If you're just eating grain-fed, again, this is where the omega-6 to omega-3 complications can come in. So this is going to be a bit of a tangent, but I'll just sort of break it down to people. So there's omega-3s and omega-6s, from what I understand. This is just my interpretation. Now, omega-6s aren't bad, but if you have too high a ratio of omega-6s to omega-3s, it can start to cause problems. Omega-6s and omega-3s are compounds, I believe. So, from what I understand, a healthy sort of ratio is about 3 to 1, 4 to 1. 3 omega-6s to 1 omega-3. Now, when you're eating grain-fed meat, the omega-6 to omega-3 ratio is about 20 to 1. When it's grass-fed, that drops to about 3 or 4 to 1. And when you've got the high ratio of omega-6s to omega-3s, that's what can contribute to inflammation. So eating grass-fed, very, very important. And buying grass-fed meat is really expensive. Even when I go to Whole Foods and buy grass-fed meat, it's only 45% pasture-raised. So the fact of the matter is, it just started getting to the point where I'm like, I'm getting this inflammation, it's becoming really restrictive, and on top of that, the diet's becoming ridiculously expensive with all the things that are going on in the world. So those are kind of my 3 reasons why I decided to stop. I can't say since I've stopped, the mental health issues that I was experiencing have come back. All in all, I would say I feel pretty much the same. In regards to the mental health stuff, it makes me question if it's all just a placebo effect, as I'm starting to really believe what's up here you can just control, but you need to just almost brainwash yourself and be so stubborn that you don't allow yourself to feel depressed. And even when you do, you just accept that's what it is and you keep it moving. So I hope that shed some light onto the experience. But you know, if you're thinking about the carnivore diet, give it a go. I mean, I thought it was great. It really cleared up my state of mind, big time. And I think if you do something for 6 to 12 months, how bad can it really be for you? Obviously, the mainstream would say that this is an unhealthy diet. I would potentially disagree. So if you just want to give it a shot, give it a shot and take it from there. Now, I hope that was useful. If you've got any thoughts or questions or anything similar, please feel free to leave down below. I might do a part 2 of this in the future and go into a little bit more detail. And that is that. Anyway, wherever you are, I hope you're having a cracking day. And I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care and peace.